What's going on? We back, Goodfellas Sports TV. Dropping some morning heat on y'all. I'm dropping 3 videos, 2 boxing videos, 1 boxing, 1 non-boxing video. All right. Look forward to this new show that I'm gonna be starting this week, sometime this week in the morning. So be on the lookout. It's gonna be a sports show, all sports. Might dedicate one day to boxing, man. But yeah, man. I hear people, keep saying that Danny Jacobs' biggest fights, all the fights are on the zone. Mythbuster. It's not. All his biggest fights are not on the zone. His biggest fight is on the zone as far as financially versus Canelo Alvarez. He said, from what I hear, he said that he's not signing back with Eddie Hearn unless that Canelo fight is in the contract. And that's the only fight over there for him, even if he moved to 68. But that's the only fight at 160 for him is Canelo, because him and Demetrius Boom Boom Andrade is just a mental midget. He got a marshmallow for a brain and for a heart. And he's soft. He's soft. I don't want to fight Danny Jacobs, man. Me and Danny Jacobs is close, man. His coach is like my uncle, my coach. You say tomato, I say tomato. He don't want that smoke, man. He don't want to challenge nobody. Tell you that right now. Demetrius Andrade got that belt. He gonna babysit that belt. He not fighting nobody. You heard Eddie Hearn. We want to get Demetrius back active. Oh, forget all that, man. This dude whole life been a tune-up. Whole career been a tune-up. He ain't tried to fight nobody. Remember, he about 2 or 3 years older than Charlos, all right? So, I mean, who else then? If, he don't get the Canelo fight, Canelo stay at 168, that will mean that Jamal Charlo automatically becomes the full WBC champion, okay? He becomes that full champion, and then, you got 2 belts over there. You know what I'm saying? The third belt is by Andrade, and that 4th Super WBA belt, that's going to be probably going over to Rob Brandt, Golovkin, or Murata, somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, for Danny Jacobs, the bigger fights, other than the Canelo fight, is on the PBC side, to be honest. Because if Charlo becomes the WBC champion and Canelo stays at 168, then him and Danny Jacobs make one of the biggest American fights out there. I think that's one of the most fights. That's the fights fans are salivating the most for. That can, with Crawford and Earl Spence, with Earl Spence being scared to fight Crawford, his team don't believe he could beat Crawford, with AJ being scared to fight Wilder. I mean, what else big fights do you want? Javante Tank team, they're not ready for Lomachenko right now. So, I mean, obviously Leo Santa Cruz don't want to fight Gary Russell. So we can go on and on. Obviously, Jared Hurd and Jamel Charlo are going to be on ice for a minute. So... what other fight, what is there that can happen? And Danny Jacobs expressed he wants to fight. Jamal Charlo expressed that he wants to fight now. And that's the biggest fight right now, in my opinion, in boxing. Because that's a fight that's factual. That's going to actually happen. They got the same management. They could be fighting under the same banner. Remember, Danny Jacobs' last 2 fights was versus PBC fighters in Slucky and Derevchenko. And like I say, it's more options on the PBC side. Him and Jamal Charlo is the second biggest fight. Fuck what you heard. Golovkin, at the end of the day, Golovkin, I talked about yesterday with Golovkin. Okay, Golovkin was in it for the money now. He don't want belts no more. He want where he go get the most guaranteed money, and he don't want to fight Jacobs or Charlo. Okay, even if they did fight them, I still think Jamal Charlo and Danny Jacobs will be a bigger fight because they both can talk English. They both gonna talk their talk, and I think it's legitimate bad blood, especially with Andre Rozier insinuating that the Charlos was on steroids. Okay. And about that thing again, man, it's funny how nobody insinuated Canelo was on steroids all these years, but they pulled out on the brother. And people knew Canelo was juicing because Floyd knew it back in 2013, they said. People knew it was dirty. I hate when brothers pull that shit on other brothers, man. I didn't hear people talking about all these robberies that Canelo was around here getting these close decisions. All they do is kiss his butt for a payday. I don't see nobody being vocal and being real on Canelo Alvarez, but Andre Rozier want to pull one on the Charlo twins. Like I say, man, black people ain't gonna never be unified, man. We ain't gonna never have unity. It just ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's been built for us to lose, man. We built to win, and it's been set for us to lose, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's a great fight. Him and Jamal Charlo. Like I said, that's the best fight to be made in boxing right now because it actually can be made. I believe it actually will be made, and they both talk English, and it's gonna sell. And they both got a build up. You can't tell me a fight that actually can happen as soon as next year They got all that with it. You know, a build up. You got legit bad blood. You got, you know, a good fight. And 2 young fighters that's in their prime for the most part. Danny Jacobs will be 32 in February. Charlo will be 29 in May, I think. Or April. I think it's May. Okay? 2 young guys. If you put Golovkin in there with one of them, oh, Golovkin was old and he was 36, 37 years old. And, you know, that's what you're going to get. You got no excuses right here. You know? No excuses. Then you forget that Alexander Lara called up Jacobs. It was kind of a clout chase. Kind of went under people's nose when he went over to HBO and with Eddie Hearn. Then he started calling him out. Then Danny Jacobs said we could have been fought. He wasn't saying nothing when I was over there. Now he won't say so when I jumped ship. Lara is to fight one more fight at 154. They're going to 160. That'll be an excellent fight for Danny Jacobs to fight Alexander Lara. I think that'll be a good fight for Lara. Lara's an older fighter. He had a good fight with Jared Hurd. And he got better mobility than Danny Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? I can see him piecing up Danny Jacobs a little bit, man. He got the style to beat Danny Jacobs. His feet good. He got good leverage on his punches. You know, good distance on his punches. But I'm not sure if he's strong enough to hang in there with Danny Jacobs. He really going to have to finesse it. Because Danny Jacobs, if you get what you heard, he don't fight like Jared Hurd. You know what I'm saying? He way more tentative than Jared Hurd. Like I said, you know, he's like a wounded, you know, like a hurt scoring dog or a wounded dog or whatever that been hurt, and he don't trust nobody, and he don't really trust in himself, so he all defensive. Danny Jacobs a very defensive fighter, and Lara would just try to pop shot him, you know, dance around and move. Danny Jacobs' feet, in my opinion, ain't all that good. He got to set to shoot, but you know he can beat Lara. That'd be a good fight. You know, for Lara's first fight at 160, I mean, yeah, you know, he ain't got that much time. He ain't got time to be tuning up at 34, 35 years old. If that's his real age, he don't have that time to be tuning up. You know, he need to get with it, try to get Jacobs. Now, you know, if they want to do Lara and Jacobs and Charlo, Jamal Charlo, get his WBC belt, if he want to do a title defense at the crib, or if Canelo had a balls to come back down and fight him, then so be it. Okay? So be it. You know, but if he, like I said, if he get that title and Canelo stay at 168 like everybody anticipating him to do now, which I don't know how true it is, I'll just wait and see. Like I said, Jamal Charlo becomes that champion, WC champion. He ain't got to fight nobody. Just as Triple G was the interim title holder for beating Marco Antonio Rubio, Jamal Charlo is the interim title holder. He will be the full WBC title holder. Excuse me, I called him a champion earlier. He'll be a full title holder, and that'll be. And then they could just scrap and have unification bout. Also, don't forget about Jared Hurd. If Jared Hurd and Jamel Charlo, if both of them fight and it's a close fight, and let's say Jared Hurd win, move up, he said he want all the smoke with Danny Jacobs. He said he'll beat Danny Jacobs. He said it's the easiest fight at 160 for him is fighting Danny Jacobs. And that's a call out to me. I'm surprised, you know, nobody at Press Row asked him about that, but there's so much other stuff going on at the press conference, excuse me. That Jared Hurd just basically he punked Danny Jacobs. He don't have no respect for him. He said, "You easy, man. Out of Jamal Charlo, Golovkin, Andrade, Triple G, Canelo, you the easiest one." And I think he sees something. He see the same thing that I see in Danny Jacobs. He's very defensive, and he a little. I mean, you know, he gunshot because he don't let his hands go because he's been stopped before. He's been dropped before. He's been hurt before a lot of times. And Jared Hurd won all the smoke. That might end up being the premier fight at 160 over Jamal Charlo. You know, that might be the premier fight just because of what he said. And he said it with conviction. That boy don't be playing. That boy's serious business, man. And when I be talking around people really believe that Jared Hurd can whoop Charlo. That's a really, really good 50-50 fight. Because he's so strong, he's so big, he's so physically gifted. And people don't know, but he can box on the back foot as well. So, you know, he can box. He just got to shore up his defense, man. And you know, he going to be there, man. But, you know, I don't think it's that easy to fight Danny Jacobs. I got a lot of respect for Danny Jacobs. But Jared Hurd, you know, called him out. That's another fight. So we already in the name 3 fights. Jamal, Lara, Hurd, and then Jamel. What if Jamel have a close fight with Swift, or Swift have a close fight with Jamel and just lose, or whatever, however they go, and he fight Jamel. And maybe Danny Jacobs beat Jamal, and Jamel want to say, okay, let me avenge my brother's loss. That's another big money fight. That's another huge money fight right there. Just based off you beat his brother coming to avenge his big brother loss. Come on, man. Come on. And you got to remember, Jermell Charlo's a different fighter, so you can't classify him as Jamal. Jamal is more the plotter. He more the puncher. He taller. He longer, but he don't have those finesse skills like Jermell. Now Jermell ain't been showing them finesse skills the last few fights since he been with Derrick James. But Jermell can box, move, and I like to see him implement more sticking and moving with his new aggressive style boxing. He got to find a mesh point. And I think, and this is gonna sound funny, but the longer Jared Hurd, and Charlo wait, it's gonna favor Jermell Charlo, because he gonna get his identity, able to look at the film to know what he needs to do, what type of fighter he needs to be, which fighter is gonna help them. Because right now, Jared, he fighting like Arrow coming forward, but I think he needs to box more, and then when his time is right, come and attack. But that's a good fight versus Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs got more money other than the Canelo fight on PBC side. You're talking about the volume of fights that can actually happen. Him. And then also, don't sleep on Frank Warren connection with Al Heyman. They share a few fighters. They share Carl Frampton, James DeGale. Al manages a few of his fighters. Carl Frampton's been on here before on Showtime, even though him and Warren are going to ESPN Plus app. Frank Warren does have a relationship with ESPN now. But, don't sleep on Billy Joe Saunders and Danny Jacobs at 60 or 68. So that's another fighter PBC can bring in for Danny Jacobs. And also, I always keep it real. Billy Joe Saunders can go over to ESPN, since Frank Warren got the new television deal with ESPN, and he could fight Golovkin on ESPN. But it would be a non-title bout unless Billy Joe Saunders can get a rematch versus Andrade, which is gonna be hard, gonna be tough. They're gonna try to lowball Billy Joe Saunders, DAZN and them. It's gonna be tough for him to go over there and get that rematch with Andrade. So you got the WBO to sanction it. Frank Warren had to ante up and win the purse bid this time. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, you got Jermell Jamal, Jared Hurd, Lara, and then possibly Billy Joe Saunders. You know what I'm saying? You got 5 fights over there, man, for him. And then let's end the video off if he moves up to 168. Okay, if this guy moves up to 168, guess what? He got a rematch with Caleb Truex. To kind of tune him up. Caleb Plant. If Caleb Plant beat Uzataki, if David Benavidez coming back, or if he or if Darrell or Alvian Vuderman stay champion. See, he got a good pipeline up there. He got a rematch with Peter Quillen up there. I mean, it's good fights for 68 and 60. For him. Obviously Canelo stay at 68. That's the elephant in the room for him. And I'm not saying that the DAZN don't have no fights. They have the biggest fight, Canelo, with him, but he got to be real. Are they gonna give him a decision over Canelo Alvarez? $365 million man, you're going to get a decision over him versus DAZN, because we know Danny Jacobs don't always look for the knockout. And if he don't knock Canelo out, he ain't going to win. All right? But, hey, let me know what y'all think about it. Goodfellas Sports TV up in here doing what he does. One time for the one time. Mr. One time for the one time. Shout out to everybody support what we're doing, our brothers and sisters. I appreciate it, man. We're going to continue to speak facts and provide different sauces to dip in. We talking this boxing. No redundant boxing talk. Always changing the subject now on. We might hammer in a couple, points like Danny Jacobs, but it was Danny Jacobs' week. He had a big fight. He got his first world title. Hand clap for Danny Jacobs. So we're going to talk about him. But we switching lanes when they not switching lanes. And we doing predictions when they trying to do predictions and they can't articulate it. But y'all want to hit me up, video requests. Facebook, link in there. You can DM me there, or you can email me. And also be on the lookout for our new sports show, man. It's going to be straight heat. I hope it's be heat. But if you want to make a donation, shout out to Mr. White, made a donation last night. PayPal link in the description on the donation.